Hi, my name is George, and today I'm going to show you how to replace a broken wheel on our 1194 launch flight pitching machine. The tools that are required are a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, a needle nose plier, and an adjustable wrench. But if you have access to a socket set, you'll need a 12mm and a 13mm socket and an electric drill with a Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, let's begin. Let's take off the 4 thumb screws that secure the pinch plate. So there's 2 on this side. Once we remove that, we're going to flip the machine over and we'll have access to the other 2. Once you remove all the thumb screws, you're going to slide the pinch plate off and put that to the side. We're going to use that to reassemble the machine. Now we're going to use our drill to remove the 3 screws that cover the spindle cover. Since these are small screws, make sure you put them to the side and keep it organized so that you don't lose any of the pieces. Now I'm going to use a 12mm ratchet to remove the bolt that attaches to the bracket. This is a pretty long bolt, so you'll slowly pull it out. Once the bolt is free, you could remove it by hand. We'll flip the machine back over, and we'll remove the 3 screws that hold the control box. As you lift the control box, be gentle as there are cables attached to the motor. As you can see, there's an aqua colored cable that is the ground cable. You'll have to remove that with a Phillips head screwdriver. And that is a small screw, so you'll have to put that aside carefully. There's also one more connection that attaches the motor to the control board. And there's a little plastic clip that keeps it locked in. So you'll have to carefully lift up the locking mechanism and slip it out. Now that the control box is removed, you could put that away to the side. There is a small screw at the front of the pitching machine. You'll need your pliers to secure the nut and use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove that screw. As the screw lifts away, there's a middle piece that sits between the 2 pieces of housing that you'll have to keep your hands on, so not to lose it. From there, we're going to remove the thumb screw that attaches to the tilt bracket and remove the 12mm bolt that's on this side. Again, it's quite a long bolt, so you'll slowly work your way out. We'll then slide the tilt bracket out and put that to the side. From there, we'll grab our drill and remove the 8 screws that hold the 2 sides of the housing together. There are 8 screws in total, 4 on each side, and they alternate from one side to the other. There's also one screw that's tucked up right underneath the front of the pitching machine. Make sure you get that one. We'll flip the machine over, making sure that you don't pinch the cables on the motor side. Again, we'll continue to remove the remaining screws on this side of the housing. With the last screw removed, the two sides of the housing should be free to separate. And now you have access to the broken wheel. From here, we'll use our 13mm socket to remove the bolt that secures the pitching machine wheel. You can remove any pieces that's completely broken off. Make sure you turn the ratchet clockwise to remove the bolt. Once loosened, you can take off the bolt by hand, and behind there sits a split washer and a regular washer. It removes those pieces too. Then you could take a flathead screwdriver and slowly pry the broken wheel off. You might have to work your way around so that you can get the bar free. So here's the new pitching machine wheel. This is the front side. You'll see the two holes. Those two holes could be used to line it up. And then in the back is a groove where the crossbar will fit into. This is the crossbar. You'll want to set it at 9 and 3 before you slide the new wheel on. Make sure you push it down and make sure it's secure. You'll then put the washer, the split washer, and the bolt back on and secure it. Remember to tighten the bolt now. You have to go counterclockwise. Be sure not to over tighten the bolt, as this may lock up the wheel. It should move freely like so. We'll then replace the other side of the housing and start to secure it with the Phillips screws. Remember that the screws alternate from one side to the other, so it's every other one. You could tell the correct side by the flanges on the housing. Notice I skipped the other hole. That will be secured on the other side. There's the flange right there. And that is the flange for the other side. Be careful not to over tighten the screws, as it may thread. And don't forget the screw in the corner. Here we're working on the other side, working our way around, attaching all 8 screws for the housing. Next, we're going to reinstall the spacer on the front of the housing. So first, you're going to line up the spacer, make sure it follows the shape of the frame, making sure all the edges line up. And we're going to put the screw right through the hole and set the nut on the backside. I'm using my hands right now just until the screw catches, and then I'll use my pliers to hold it into place. We'll slide in the tilt bracket on the bottom, making sure that the slot lines up with the thumb screw knob. There's the groove right there, making sure it lines up with the insert hole for the thumb screw. We'll use this to center everything. You can keep it loose, doesn't need to be very tight. It's just to center it. We'll put in the 12mm bolt. And tighten that down. Again, you don't have to make it overly tight because it will make the bracket hard to move. We'll flip over the machine, making sure that you don't pinch the wires on the motor. And again, we'll replace the 12mm bolt back in. Just a quick tighten, you don't have to over tighten that. And then we'll put on the spindle plate cover. Careful not to over tighten the screws, as it will crack the cover. We'll flip the machine over and get ready to install the control box back on. First thing, we'll plug in the motor connection to the board. It's the 2-pin right there. You'll see it's the 2-pin with the white flange. The white locking clip. You just push it in tight, firm, but not too tight, and it should lock into place right there. Next, we'll reconnect the grounding wire. If you have a magnetic tip screwdriver, that might help, and to attach the screw to the screwdriver first before installing it. Next, you're going to tuck all the cables into the control box, making sure that none of the cables are exposed or pinching as you set the control box back onto the housing. There's a groove on the back where the plug will come out of. Make sure that the indent on the power cable lines up with the indent on the housing. Then we will install the 3 screws that lock the control box back into place. And then finally, we'll put the pinch pad back into place and secure it with the 4 thumb screws. You can set it to whatever you need, whether it's softball or baseball settings. With the last screw in, that concludes the installation of a new pitching machine wheel.